Welcome to Coastside. Welcome to the Coastside Fire Protection District Board of Directors regular board meeting, April 27th, 2022. Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell.
Here.
Director McKimmey.
Here.
Director Sherrill.
Here.
President Burke.
Here.
And Director Stockman will be absent this evening. Thank you.
And I'm going to recuse myself from the consent calendar.
Thank you.
Yes, Jean?
Yes, correct.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to
the flag of the United
States of America
and to the
and
republic
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comment at this time? No? Then I would, before proceeding, we do.
Yes, hi everybody. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes in the public comment. My name is Sheena Sidhu. I'm the Forest Health and Fire Resiliency Program Manager for the San Mateo RCD, and just wanted to take a moment to share that our chipper program is going to be happening on the Mid Coast on May 9th through 12th. The information is available on the website. I can drop it in the link if folks would like to have that. And just wanted to say a thank you to Fire Marshals Austin Seeley and oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I'm so sorry. Tyler Sturm. Sorry, I'm so sorry to Tyler. They have been very helpful to us to identify the key streets that are going to help to make the community safer. And also, I believe that you have the weed abatement later on the agenda. I know that that's separate issue to talk about, but it was nice that we were able to structure it so that the weed abatement notice goes out, and then a couple of weeks later, the chipper program is there to help to provide a solution to residents for vegetation management. So that's just a quick thing I wanted to share, and I'll drop the website information in the chat.
Thank you, Sheena.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak? Then before we continue, I'd like to digress just for a moment. I received word today, and actually on the death of Jean Hadley, who apparently passed away earlier this week. Jean, as I think members of the board and others know, she was the secretary and longstanding note taker here for the fire district for many years. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing 10 to 12 at least, if not longer than that. She certainly took excellent minutes and corrected everybody, and I mean everybody, and sometimes doing some very tumultuous meetings when a number of people were speaking at the same time and speaking over us, but she made sense of it and kept us on the right track. She was very professional, and from my perspective, just was a delight to work with. And certainly her Christmas cookies were the hit of the year for many of us. I'd like to, with everybody's permission, dedicate this meeting in memory of Jean Hadley. And if you just join me in a moment of silence.
Here, here.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So, your turn, Cynthia.
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell.
Yes.
Director McKimmey recused. Director Sherrill.
Yes.
President Burke.
Yes.
Director Stockman absent. Motion
Thank you.
passes.
Moving on to continue business, weed abatement, Chief Armstrong.
Yeah, thank you, President Burke and members of the board. You should have the staff report in front of you. This is continuing business on the weed abatement program. Based on the recommendation of your board, we did put out to bid. We received 4 bids for the weed abatement service, and that was in the month of March. The winning bid was with Steve Mello, and so the recommendation from staff is to approve the resolution authorizing the agreement with Steve Mello for the weed abatement services within the district.
Thank you. I open a public hearing for any property owners having objections to the proposed removal of such weeds. Any member of the public like to speak? Hearing none, I would close the meeting. Oops,
I had
excuse
a
me.
question. Did Steve Mel provide references?
Well, let me go.
There's a whole
look in-
packet of what he did provide. All
Yeah.
that was requested of him, he provided. It's in the packet.
He works the whole coast.
Yeah, and Chief Cosgrave, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we may have done business with him before.
I'm not sure. I know who he is. I'm not sure if he's done it in the past, but he's been around forever.
Yeah, I could have sworn that we had done some business with him in the past within the district.
But he has responded to all that was requested of him in his response to the bid. So I will close the public hearing with that. And do I have a motion to approve adopt resolution number 2022?
Hang on, Gary.
Hang on,
Okay,
Cynthia.
I'm
We
sorry.
have a request from a member of the public to speak, Joe
Oh,
Chamberlain.
okay, I did not see that.
Uh,
Please go forward.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question regarding my responsibility for weeds here in Miramar and San Mateo County unincorporated. We got the letter and we don't own any property that has any weeds on it. So I was just curious about why we got the letter.
President Burke, I would suggest that you have staff follow up with this individual, and if there was a mistake in the information that we sent out, we will deal with that.
Yeah, the property next to us that has the weeds on it is owned by San Mateo County. It is a continuation of First Avenue through to Cortez. So I'm trying to understand why they sent us a letter when the county owns the property, and that's why the weeds are that high.
Sir, could you give us the address that you're talking about, and we will follow up?
Yes, I am at 151 Medio Avenue, MEDIO, in Miramar, unincorporated county of San Mateo. And we got this letter, and the property that's next to us is a street on paper of First Avenue owned by the county. And there's a whole lot, 3 lots that are owned by other, private owners that the weeds are, 4 feet high. And they get mowed down once a year, but the county has this street that's next to us that is on paper First Avenue that continues to Cortez. So I'm just not trying to understand why we got a letter. It's our responsibility to remove that fire hazard when it's not our property.
Sounds like there's a mix-up and we'll need to figure it out and get back to you.
Yes,
Thank you.
President Burke, we'll view this as an objection properly raised during this hearing, and we will follow up with this individual. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My last name is Miola, MEOLA, if you need that. First name is Salvatore, SALVATORE, and the last name again is MEOLA.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good.
I also have another question as well. I also got a letter. I have a property here, and my property is around 2 acres. I think in the past, what is done is they have told me to remove some of the vegetation that is close to the street. But but I'd like to see if there is some procedure by which I can talk to somebody at the fire department and say, hey, what should I do with the thing, and abate it according to what they think I should do. So I'm not objecting to anything. I'm just saying that, can we just have a procedure by which I can call somebody and they can give me further instructions on what they're expecting to do on this acreage?
And
Certainly.
Chief Cosgrave, do you have the fire marshal's office number handy?
Yeah, you have to go through the phone tree. That's the 650-726-5213, and then there'll be a prompt for the fire marshal's office. Now I can talk to them, but is there a procedure by which I can just do whatever they do and submit some things so that everybody's satisfied and I'm not on any list where, I mean, I know Mello very well, so so I can talk to him, but I'd rather clear this up before it's forcibly cleared or whatnot,
Yeah, sir, if you call that number and ask to speak with the fire marshal's office, we'll be happy to get you in touch with somebody that can help explain that and maybe even come out and meet with you to go over
Oh,
that.
that'd be fantastic. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate it. My name is Glau Nair, and I'm in Moss Beach.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Now, do we have another person who would like to speak?
We do, Joe Chamberlain, although suddenly I don't see her.
Joe's still
I'm
there.
here.
That just
Oh,
moved
good.
on.
Joe Chamberlain is here.
Go.
Joe Chamberlain is here both visually and auditorially.
Please,
May I
please go.
speak now, sir?
Yes, you may, Joe. Please go on.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm the executive director at the Coastside Land Trust. And we've had some bad experiences with your mowing, but I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you this evening and kind of outline some of our concerns. The first one is that I wrote a letter that I hope the fire marshals received regarding this year's communications. The surf beach track properties that we own are currently planted in coastal oat hay, and we would really prefer that you not mow that area. As the agricultural person who is raising the hay depends on that for his income, and it is part of our mission to support agriculture, and I see no reason to mow an agricultural crop. The second is in the Venice Beach area. The letter includes two APNs, 048-172-010 and 040. We've received, and I've copied you this in my email communication from the city of Half Moon Bay, that those two parcels contain sensitive habitat. And we are asking that you please not mow those as well. They are far out toward the west, very near the California Coastal Trail, and I see no reason for you to be mowing those parcels. I would like to have confirmation from your fire marshals that you have received this communication from the Coastside Land Trust. I have received no comment from anyone as of now. The second thing is that in the past, we have had the following problems with the mowing. And that is that in about 4 years ago, you mowed an endangered species, and that's the common yellowthroat, which is confirmed by Alvaro Jaramillo, an international ornithologist, as well as me, that they were nesting at the time that those willows were mown, and those animals were killed, as well as mowing over by the retention pond for the red-legged frogs along the end of Seymour, between the end of Seymour and Magnolia. That was also a potential taking. And I'm asking that you not mow in those areas as well. The railroad right-of-way where the taking was taken on the common yellowthroat is a conservation easement that the Coastside Land Trust holds. We are very concerned that your mowers are approached by neighbors when they are out mowing and asked to mow areas, and they mow them. And I find this appalling. I also find your contract, as far as I can tell from what documentation I've seen, does not curtail the mower from not doing so. You also pay an hourly rate, which means the more time they spend mowing, the more money they make. I do not find this to be an ethical process by the fire district or department, and I would ask you to review that. So please, in the future, do not allow your mower to just mow because the neighbor asks them to mow. Thank you very much, and I don't mean to sound too emotional, but I am tired of always picking up dead animals because your people don't follow any of the ESHA rules at all. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Joe. Chief Armstrong, with the comments that we've heard this evening, maybe it's time to take a real look at the contract and the communication we have with the people doing the weed cutting with this. This reminds me of not too many years ago, we had a very lengthy discussion on the kind of blades that the discs that the weed growers could use and so forth. So maybe it's time to take a good look at it and see what needs to be done to improve the process, if you would. Do we have any other speakers? If not, then I would like, do we have a motion to adopt resolution number 2022, resolution of the District Board of Coastside authorizing the Deputy Chief to execute an agreement with Steve Melwing for weed abatement services? Do we have a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution 2022-12.
A second?
I'll second that with the understanding that we will take a long look at Joe Chamberlain's concerns
Absolutely.
and make sure we don't do anything that is contrary to what we stand for.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell,
Yes.
Director McKimmie,
Yes.
Director Sherrill,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes,
Director Stockman is absent. Motion passes.
thank you. Moving on to new business. Approve one of the two following resolutions presented to the board consideration, authorizing a new teleconferencing board or adopting hybrid board meetings. Chief Armstrong or Jean, who's going to take this one?
I'm going to take this one, President Burke. Thank you. Since the beginning of the emergency declarations for COVID-19, the board has been meeting remotely. And as part of that, each month you are asked to adopt a resolution which continues to authorize remote meeting. But we were also asked to explore the possibility of hybrid meetings, which would mean that individuals can choose to attend meetings in person or to remote in, as they have been doing. So we've prepared two resolutions for your consideration this evening. One, which would continue the only option of remote meetings, and a second resolution, which would allow for hybrid meetings beginning next month. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have in regard to either one of the resolutions.
Before we ask for any kind of approval and resolutions, let's open it up for discussion. And let me start. I have just a couple of questions. If on the hybrid meetings, if we were to, I assume it would be the board members and the public who choose to do so could meet in person at Station 40, while others at that same meeting would join us via Zoom. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yes. And if there are any board members who don't feel comfortable, they could also choose to remote in, or staff.
Yes. Well, that was my next question. The same would apply to staff as to whether they should choose to attend in person or be on Zoom.
Correct.
Okay, that clarifies something for me. JB?
Okay, with the assumption being in the in-person portion of the meeting, would we be wearing masks?
Masks are strongly encouraged at this point by Cal OSHA, but they are not required.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments? Bruce?
I thought that next month we were going to go in person. That was my.
If you adopt the resolution for the hybrid meetings, then there would be a choice for all board members to determine whether they wish to join in person or continue remotely.
I assume or guess that, for the foreseeable future, Zoom meetings will always be an option for the board or the public. It's not only for the virus interest, if you will, but just for communications and help to getting to meetings. I think that's possibly going to be. But I repeat what I think I've said in other meetings. I think as good as the Zoom meetings are, and they've certainly been a godsend to us, there's something about meeting in person that for a board, I think is helpful for me personally. And I'll tell you in advance, I would support the hybrid meeting, since it provides the option of not attending a hybrid meeting for those who would oppose it. And I assume that if we were to meet at Station 40, that the technical facilities are such that we could have a hybrid meeting. Is that correct, Chief Armstrong?
That's correct. Yeah, we have the logistical stuff that we need to
Okay.
make it happen.
Cynthia, or any other comments or questions?
No, I don't have any comments at this time. I am still thinking about that previous resolution and do hope that, as was already said, we follow up in detail to be certain that we have responded to each of the concerns that was mentioned.
Certainly. Then what is, all right, we need to move this off the, excuse me?
You do have a member of the public, excuse me, who wishes to speak.
Michelle,
Michelle.
It was me. I'm the only one I see with my hand up, but I didn't hear anybody ask for me to start speaking. Is it my turn?
Go ahead, Sid.
Okay, thank you. Two things. I'm not in favor of going back to in-person meetings, although because your guys have the same night as the MCC and their meeting starts at 7, I would only ask that could we please have it at the news station in El Granada, and that means people who live in Moss Beach won't have to race down the highway and race back up for the other meeting if we choose to come in person. And also, this is not on the same topic, but are you guys ever going to have a grand opening celebration for that station?
Yes.
I missed it, so I'd love to have a meeting
Well,
there if
we
we
don't have-
can't
we don't
have
have
a
a-
celebration. What?
We don't
I'm
have-
sorry.
Sid, we don't have a date yet, but yes, we are committed to do it. And as soon as we do, we'll make it well publicized.
I know COVID threw a big wrench in that plan,
Yeah.
but thank you. I mean, I don't know if you have a big enough meeting room there because I haven't seen the new facility, but it would be nice if you would try to have it up the coast a little further midway. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid. Now, I don't have a list of anybody waiting, but is there any other members of the public that would like to speak?
I see no other hands up.
Okay. Well, look, to just get, I would tell you, my preference is to have, as I said earlier, is to have the in-person hybrid meeting. But that's just before we take a vote on this. And I don't know what your other board members feel about it, but JB?
Yeah, it seems to me this gives us the most flexibility. We could, all 5 of us show up and have the meeting in person. And we could have people sitting in the audience in person, or they could be taking part from home, or maybe if one of us wasn't feeling good, we could take part from home. So it seems to me this is a no-lose resolution to go with the hybrid meeting. And I could see a scenario where we have, although technically we have a hybrid meeting, it's 100% in person, but that would not, a hybrid meeting would not preclude 100% in-person meeting.
Cynthia, your feelings, any comments?
I feel like I should recuse myself because I'm so close to the fire station. So, whether it's in person or it's across the street from me, it's.
Yeah. Well, look, I will to take the heat off Cynthia. Excuse me, Bruce, did you have something else?
yeah, I agree 100% with JB. I think we should do the hybrid. So if you feel comfortable and want to come meet in person, fine. If not, meet from home, or, view the meeting and participate from home. Thank you.
Then I will take the heat off from Cynthia, and I will make a motion that we move to a hybrid meeting beginning with our May regular meeting. I've made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Yes.
Director Sherrill,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
Director Stockman is absent. Motion passes.
Thank you all. And we'll see how it works out. It's not set in cement. If need be, we'll change it again. Thank you all. Moving on under new business. Item B, Community Facilities District Number 36, Harbor Village RV Park, 100 Capistrano Road, Half Moon Bay. Chief.
And President Burke, if it pleases the board, I'm going to lean on Jean for this one as well.
Okay.
This is a motion in front of you. First of all, to hold a public hearing and then to adopt some resolutions. This is pretty standard. This is the establishment of a community facilities district for some new properties, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but I would suggest you first open the public hearing, see if you have any public speakers, close the hearing, and then consider moving both resolutions before you to move this process forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. I'll open a public hearing. Any member of the public like to speak on this item? Hearing none, we'll close the public meeting. And do we have a resolution forming what is the district? District number 36, a resolution forming community facilities number 36. Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt resolution number 2022-14 and 2022-15.
Can we vote on both of them at the same
Thank
time?
you.
Yes, you may.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Yes.
Director Sherrill,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes,
Director Stockman is absent. Motion passes.
thank you. Moving on to new business, item C, review and approve recommendation to award contract for one Type 1 fire engine to Golden State Fire Apparatus in an amount not to exceed $938,524.38. Chief Armstrong.
Yes, sir. So this board previously approved the purchase of 2 new Type 1 fire engines. Those are currently slated to replace engines 40 and 41. And there's a couple of things going on here in that we're seeing constant raises in the prices of fire engines, as well as the lead time to order them. So on the mobile equipment replacement plan that was just approved, I believe we weren't planning on getting this 3rd engine to replace engine 44 until next year. But we're able to tag on to an order right now that will, one, save money currently, and also reduce the opportunity that it might be even more expensive in the coming year. You do have the money in the operating budget right now, and we're told that if we don't make the order now, we could see an increase by as much as another, I believe, 10 to 20% in that total price if we wait for a subsequent year. So the recommendation from staff is to approve the purchase of the 3rd one Type 1 engine right now that will replace your entire frontline fleet within the next couple of years.
Thank you, Chief. This is, as you board members recall, we discussed this at a prior meeting too, so this is not a surprise. And if you look in that packet, there is the vehicle replacement schedule that outlines when all the vehicles are scheduled to be replaced. And as the chief said, we're simply moving it up 1 year because of the points that he mentioned. With that, do I have a motion on this item? Cynthia?
I move that we approve the recommendation to award contract for one Type 1 fire engine to
Second.
Golden State Fire.
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Yes.
Director Sherrill,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
Director Stockman is absent. Motion passes.
Moving on to item D, review and approve recommendation to award contract for one Type 3 BME fire engine, Golden State Fire Apparatus, an amount not to exceed $474,069.23. Chief Armstrong.
So similar to the Type 1 engine, we're experiencing the same thing with the Type 3 engines. This engine is meant to replace engine 640, currently out of the Half Moon Base Station, and then I believe we'll end up moving 640 and still keeping it within the district. But the Type 3 engine is a little bit more in line with kind of our standard engines that we use, and more so in California Fire Service. It has more water, higher pump capacity. And on the reason, again, that we're trying to bump up this purchase timeline is the ever increasing price. And I believe we're looking at anywhere from 18 to 24 month lead times on these engines. So even though the order will be placed earlier earlier, we would still be receiving it about the same time as planned. And again, that we would also be seeing a price increase if we wait until the subsequent year to purchase.
Thank you, Chief. Just again, point out that this replacement is again in our approved vehicle replacement schedule. So this is not a surprise. We approved this a number of months ago, that the schedule a number of months ago. Now we're acting on this individual item. Before we have any discussion, do we have a motion on this item?
I make a motion to approve the recommendation to award contract for one Type 3 BME fire engine.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I think this speaks very well to the fact that we can even do this. This speaks to the fiscal management of the district, which I think we can credit staff and board working together to manage it properly to where we have the money that we can actually do this in a manner to save the taxpayers even additional funds.
Thank you, JB. The only other comment I would make is that I think that the delay and the length of time that it takes to get a fire engine is directly related to the amount of paperwork that it takes to order a fire engine. Holy smokes, that is incredible. All right, no other comments? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Yes.
Director Sherrill,
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
Director Stockman is absent. Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the Board of Directors and Chiefs report. The Finance Committee did not physically meet, but in your packet is the spreadsheet of all monthly and up-to-date expenses and revenue for the district. 3/4 of the way through the year, the fiscal year, there were no surprises. Everything is plain. We're 75% of your, expenses are 65%. Revenue this year will exceed our budget. We've only made 2 CAL FIRE payments, but that's normal to this time of the year. And just as another item that caught my attention is that plan reviews are up considerably this year, as budget as well as the actual numbers of them. The PAS statements are in your packet. We've had a very good month for PAS. I can't lay my hands on it at the moment. And also, if anybody is interested in looking at the individual investments that PAS makes on our behalf, there's a detailed report that outlines all the individual items. Year to date for this year, that we're actually down 5% on our total investment, but over the life of the investment, some 10 years, we're up over 9%. Those figures will probably change next month and not for the better at this point. But that's the end of the finance report. JB, did you have any comments?
He's out of the room.
Oh, okay. Then we'll move on. Is the, well, he's the volunteer land and structures, Director McKimmey.
No, we got, not really. You know, we got that
Okay.
information from the architect, but it's no big deal.
Okay. Is anything in land and structure? What you say we got the information, but we're just digesting what's going on with 44. Nothing. No.
Yeah, he just did some preliminary, statements of what you need per fire station, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't see any site plan.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. Vegetation Management Committee, Director Stockman is not here, but Chief Armstrong or Cheryl, Cynthia, do you have any comments on that particular item? No?
Only to observe that the County of San Mateo sent out a very informative brochure talking about fire safety and water conservation, and we appreciate these efforts on behalf of the county to keep the public well informed. Chief Cox was pictured and quoted, and it was a good service to the public.
Yeah, it was a very informative brochure, you bet. Director Cockrell, do you have any comments on the volunteers?
I
committee?
don't, I'm looking, I misplaced my notes, and I normally take a pretty good notes at our meeting, other than to say that Director Sherrill was there and gave an excellent presentation on Coastside Gibbs.
Okay.
And I thought it was very good, very detailed. And I think at the end of the meeting, they understood exactly what she was talking about. And basically, she was trying to explain to volunteers how to make a lot of money without working too hard at it.
Well, it's a different kind of work than having the crab and salmon fabulous dinner. But no judgment call there. It's just a different way we have to work in this world where sometimes contact is complicated. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate your beautiful introduction at that meeting, JB, Director Cockrell. That was wonderful. And I really appreciate the reception that the volunteer firefighters gave to this concept, with 3 of them standing up to say, we're going to lead this effort for next year.
Great, very good. Is that it, JB?
That's it.
Okay. Special District Association, no report. ALS JPA, no report. By the way, that group only meets twice a year, so it is not normally be report on that. And fire, FDAC liaison report, no report. Emergency preparedness liaison report. Dr. Carroll.
Yes, this month the Emergency Managers Association meeting focused on the approval of the ability for a single swearing in for the DSW oath to count for the insert programs throughout San Mateo County. And this was something that Chief Cosgrave and others deserve a lot of credit for pioneering a couple of years ago and getting approval for. And now, Chief Cosgrave, perhaps you would like to explain the specifics of this mutual program.
Sure,
Please.
thank you. So what we had to do to get the ability from the Disaster Council to swear in at our level was to get the approval of the Disaster Council. We did that at the beginning of Coastside CERT's program, to where a battalion chief or above in county fire, Coastside Fire, or CAL FIRE, the volunteer departments could do the swearing in of the DSW and follow their procedures. That has worked for us. It's taken a workload off of the county agencies that do that, and so they had a I think maybe 3 meeting process to get their motion approved. So now, if somebody's been sworn in Pescadero or South Coast CERT, and Coastside CERT wants to go down there and assist them, we don't have to re-swear them in to work under another disaster council. So all of them will have mutual aid, and it's just more efficient in the county. So they got the approval at the meeting of the disaster. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job. Cynthia, please go on.
The CERT report, should I jump to that?
Yes, please.
Okay, the CERT report is this past Saturday. Fire Station 40 hosted a group of 64 CERTs who came in for a presentation on psychological first aid by a gentleman named Nick Arnett, who is one of the leaders in this region for helping people who are addressing psychological issues, either because they're first responders or because they are people who've been affected by an emergency or a disaster. He's authored 4 books. It was a CERTs only event, very well attended. And I have to say that Nick Arnett's presentation was dynamic. We received tremendous feedback at the end of the program that he touched on some very key notes. He has, and that his talk resonated on points that people find themselves facing or have faced when they're dealing in emergency situations. We provided books outlining what he had covered, and we also distributed his slides afterwards to the attendees. So this is part of our advanced cert training series, the ACT series, that is something that we're offering just to certs now that we have a critical mass of 339 above and beyond basic cert training. That's
Very
my
good.
report.
Terrific. Very good. Any questions of Cynthia? Thank you, Cynthia, Chief Cosgrave. Moving on to the attorney's report.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, Fire Chief's report. Chief Armstrong.
Yes, all right, good, I am off mute. So you should have the March statistics and PARS accounts in your package. The district did respond to 216 emergency incidents in the month of March. Of those, 144, I believe, were priority 1 incidents, or the ones that we are measurable times. And on those, the average response time was 5 minutes and 5 seconds, which is within our contract compliance under the ALSJPA. You'll also see that the fire marshal's office continues to be quite busy, as we see a constant increase in the number of plan reviews they're doing, the number of general contacts they're having. So that remains to be a very busy part of the district. On the PARS account, did end the month with a balance of just over $4.2 million. So that account remains very solvent and appears to be moving into the future. And I'd like to kick it to Chief Cosgrave just to see if he has anything else to add, if you guys are okay with that.
No, wasn't prepared for that, but we have the new battalion chiefs that have come online. They're getting comfortable in their role. It's taken the workload off of the few battalion chiefs we've had, and they're working well together and working with the crews, and it's been a good change having the extra manpower on board. So it's all right.
It's really a great benefit to us being able to promote those folks from within the program and not bring in somebody that's never worked in the county before or know any of the folks. So we got very lucky with this crop of battalion chiefs, and I think they're going to do really great work for us.
Very good. The statistics and the job you've done, Chief Armstrong and Chief Cosgrave, are really outstanding. Keep up the good work. Any other comments from the board members?
Yeah, I've got something. I want to kind of go back to the purchase of the 2 engines. And I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but both of these say this quote would be valid until April the 28th. That's tomorrow.
And I'm glad you noticed, JB. I was texting Cosgrave that he's got to get on getting that thing ordered tomorrow. So yeah, we are right up against the wire, and there are some tight time frames. That's why we wanted to make sure that we were able to get that order placed in time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Anything else? It's one final just interesting note. This has nothing directly related to this. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to see in the Wall Street Journal here, I guess it was yesterday, the day before, about where special districts came from and where they originated. I don't know if any of you saw that. It's a very interesting article, and I won't bore you with all of it, but they originally began back in the FDR days and the recession, and based on ways to get around budget problems and so forth. But what has really brought it to the forefront, and a lot of people looking at special districts all over the country, not here because they are a phenomenon in all states and so forth, is the whole business with Disney World, which I'm sure you've been well aware of. But Disney World, believe it or not, with all their huge operation, is a special district with their own police department and every conceivable thing. They were a government unto themselves, and so all of a sudden, special districts are being looked at, according to the article, by different levels of government. Because in some areas, I'm not aware of them any in California, but in some areas that encountered some severe mismanagement and financial problems. But again, not here that I'm aware of and so forth, but just a very interesting article about special districts and where they originated. Anything else? Then without objection, we are
Wait,
adjourned.
wait. I had my hand up.
I don't see you. but
I
go
know
ahead.
you like to rush through. I'm so sorry. I had a question for Chief Armstrong under the chief's report, I guess it would be. Is Jonathan Cox gone now?
No, ma'am. Jonathan finally got a much deserved week off.
I thought maybe that was it because his picture popped up for a minute where your face was. It was just like a static picture like mine is. Well, today they approved the Connect the Coastside at the Planning Commission, which means it won't be far behind before they finally approve it with the Board of Supervisors. But 2 years ago, in 2020, I first met Jonathan Cox at the Emergency Services Committee meeting, council meeting rather, down in Redwood City. We got back when there were still live meetings in January of 2020, because I was concerned about the evacuation situation on the coast side, especially emergency disaster evacuation. And he said, they were working on Zone Haven, and to his credit, it came out right before the CZU lightning strike fire. But meanwhile, even today, there was a number of people on the coast side on that planning commission meeting trying to find out if there's any further progress on the emergency update plan for disaster evacuation. So I don't know if David Cosgrave knows or if Mr. Armstrong knows, but it would be great to give us an update if you do know. And this flyer that came out didn't mention signing up for SMC Alert, but I think that's how Zone Haven works, right? For evacuation.
So
Okay,
if I may, the Department of Emergency Management is formerly Office of Emergency Services, has been having weekly meetings on the evacuation platform, both Bayside and Coastside. Starting this week, they've merged them into one, so there's one meeting a week, and it's an ongoing process that they're evaluating what's been put into Zone Haven, and that's what's going on that platform. I think you're referring to the county put out a preparedness from smcprepared.org. Is that the flyer you're talking about?
Hold on a minute. I think it did say that somewhere here. It was a 4-sided flyer. The one that was earlier mentioned how nice it looked. Yes,
Right,
SMC
so
preparedness.
I think signing up for SMC Alert will give you the alert warnings, but the Zone Haven platform is to go to community.zonehaven.com to know your zone type of thing. So,
but if you're signed up for SMC Alert, I understand that's how you get your Zone Haven alert.
Right, that's the platform. If you're signed up for it, it will go through the platform that SMC Alert uses. You're correct there.
Okay, I think a little more outreach to the citizens needs to be done, because I saw somewhere a statistic that there weren't a lot of signups for Zone Haven yet, or /SMC Alert, but there was a downfall on the case of the SMC Alert not being notified of all the traffic accidents and closures on 92 and Highway 1, but I think they've got their act together better now. But as far as you know, is there any more talk about clearing some of the vegetation off the roadside on Devil's Slide on south of the tunnel in that eucalyptus grove? Because I can just picture that on fire and everybody trying to escape.
Yeah, I don't know of any ongoing projects right now. I know they're looking at and evaluating everything through all the different partners we have.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll ask Jonathan next time I talk to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid.
Sure.
Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.